This is the Vet Voice podcast by Veterans for America First. My name is Jerry Craig. I'm the host of the podcast, and I have the pleasure of speaking with Gerald Malloy, who is running for United States Senate for the state of Vermont. And he is also a Veterans for America First endorsed candidate. So first, I want to congratulate you on winning your primary election, and you're geared up for the general election this November 8th. I want you to tell your voters a little bit about yourself so they can know who they're voting for this November.
Sure. Well, thank you, Jerry, and thank you for Veterans for America First. Great to be here. I appreciate the support. So Gerald Malloy, and I am running for U.S. Senate in Vermont, and that's for Senator Leahy's seat. Senator Leahy has announced that he's retiring after 48 years, and he's the only Democrat ever in the state of Vermont. But I guess to start with me, I was born in Boston, and oldest of 9. I've had one sibling pass away, but large family. Had the great opportunity to go to West Point at 18, played some hockey and baseball at West Point, and then was commissioned as a field artillery officer. Served 22 years on active duty around the world, Germany in the Fulda Gap, a couple of times in Korea, including near the DMZ, once with the Army, once with the Air Force. Did some training with the Jordanians in the Middle East, did pretty much Desert Shield, Desert Storm start to finish, and that was coming out of Fort Bragg. I had been a charter member of an MLRS battalion, helped stand that battalion up and led the operations as they went about 400 kilometers and fired 650 MLRS rockets to help liberate Kuwait. Also ended up training about 50,000 reserve component soldiers for different operations, Enduring Freedom, Iraqi Freedom, Bosnia, Operation Noble Eagle. I did work at the Joint Field Office in New York City right after 9/11, and I also worked ROTC for about 2.5, 3 years, and was part of the leadership team commissioning about 1,000 new lieutenants. Then went into work different government positions and with industry for the next 5 years, working with many government organizations, mostly emergency management, emergency planning. I actually did pandemic influenza planning and response during the whole H1N1 bird flu incident. Worked with DHS, HHS, state, federal, local, law enforcement community, worked about 20 presidential disaster declarations. Then I went into business and industry. So I've been in business development positions for the last about 11 and a half years. Worked for a couple of, several great companies. Still working now, although I'm on like part-time. But I worked for Raytheon, I worked for Lockheed Martin. I guess going back, I got my initial security clearance. I was in a nuclear surety program in Germany in the Fulda Gap, but that dates back to 85. I still have that clearance now. In business development positions, mostly in the Washington, D.C. area. So I consider my full career as service, 42 years now. I'm still working with government and particularly military folks across DOD to provide services with my company and grow new business for my company. I think that's very applicable here, especially in Vermont, where one of the things that's missing is well-paying jobs and growing business in Vermont. So I'm married, 4 children. I have 3 children in the Vermont schools right now. I got married a little bit late in life, so my youngest is 13. I have 2 in college and 1 in high school here in Vermont. And my wife, Stacy, is, of course, the love of my life. She's doing everything for this campaign right now. I've got a great campaign team and family, and really about upwards of 200 volunteers here in Vermont helping. I decided to run. I started thinking about it the day Senator Leahy made his announcement back in November of last year, on or about November 15th. I had not thought of running for U.S. Senator at that point, but when he announced, I began to think about it, and I did that because I was alarmed at the direction our country was going in. And I actually tell people now that I've gone from could run to should run to have to run to have to win, because our country has gone from, in my view, an alarming downward trend last year into crisis this year, and that's our economy and drugs and border and crime, and of course there's a war in Europe now, and there are reasons for all of that, and it's the folks that are in charge right now. The Democrat Party, the progressive far left, it's not representing the people. So I decided January, February of this year, I did my boots on the ground, starting the campaign, and that I've worked very, very hard. And I've got an Army ground game going here, and it's a small state. There's only about 300,000 or so actual voters. So I've been everywhere, just about everywhere in the state, all 14 counties. I've done 18 parades and been in all sorts of events. It's been fantastic. But my platform, which I looked at, where the current administration is failing, and that aligns right up with the Republican Party platform. Not abiding by the Constitution. We need to get back to that. Not promoting economic prosperity. Need to get back to that. And not ensuring defense, security, and order. So I have on my website, Deploy Malloy, you'll see I have different very viable solutions to address all of those failures right now. Here in Vermont, very exciting. As I worked, I will tell you, I was an underdog in the primary, and my ground game won the primary for me. And the response continues to grow every day. Primary was August 9th, and since then, some great things have happened. I have had a debate with my opponent. One of the things I had looked at back in making my decision, Senator Leahy, as I might have mentioned, is the only U.S. senator ever. Before him in 1974, 100 years of Republicans straight in Vermont. So it's not a crazy idea to be a Republican here in Vermont. There's still that base of Republicans here in the state. It's just a matter of getting them energized and getting them out to vote. I also looked at my opponents, and who I thought would be my opponent is my opponent. Vermont has one representative. His name is Peter Welch, and he's been the representative here for 16 years. Far left Democrat, and he is not representing the state. All of the state. He is representing a small part of the state. And I've also looked at his performance, and there are some issues that many Vermonters bring up to me every single day. And so between all those things, I think I have a great chance here. And so I will tell you, recently I had a debate with him that went very well. And the day after that debate, Trafalgar issued a poll and showed me as 6.5 points behind, 49-43. For me, Republican in this state, in this race, going up against that opponent is actually fantastic. And I'm very encouraged by it. That was a good 3 weeks ago. That has enabled me to gain more steam. I've been on Bannon, Breitbart, David Webb, Howie Carr. I was on Steve Hilton just this past Sunday night, nationwide. I've been on all the radio stations, TV stations here in the state. Not all, but I mean quite a few. And we're growing, and it's a ground game, and it can be done. And Vermonters, I have done my own, not scientific, but just going and engaging Vermonters. I think I'm right up about 15,000 folks that I've talked to. 85% of those are not happy with the direction of the country, and that's me standing in front of a supermarket and 85. Meeting 100 people, and 85 are not happy, and there's 15 that are happy or think things are fine. But, that's very encouraging to me. And so we're going to continue with that approach. I just was on an hour show last night on a cable station up in St. Albans. Just this morning, I spent about 45 minutes on the major radio station here in Burlington, up a couple hours north of me. I'm down in Windsor County, which is the birthplace of Vermont. And, I will tell you, I mentioned born in Boston, so Vermonters and they're proud of their heritage. So I do get asked, what generation Vermonter are you? And I'm not 11th generation, which I've met, but I am a New Englander, and I have, even at the bottom of my driveway, so the Veterans of America folks who will be interested in this, bottom of my driveway is one of two original Crown Point Military Road markers, 1759. That road was, the security for that road was provided by Robert Rogers of Rogers Rangers fame, him. and a young captain named John Stark from New Hampshire, who went on to be the hero of the Battle of Bennington, the original turning point of the Revolutionary War, and the gentleman that said, "Live free or die." So a lot of history here, and I'm proud of that. Proud to be a Vermonter. This race is very exciting, and really, it's about saving Vermont and saving America. We're going in the wrong direction, and Vermonters realize that the inflation has been caused by massive, reckless, misguided overspending. The crime has been caused by efforts, initiatives to defund the police and the progressive prosecutor movement. The drugs are pouring in through our southern border because it's not secure. And I can tell you, having worked with DHS and 15 years ago, it wasn't secure. And so that needs to be fixed. And I am in favor of actually putting up a wall, not because I'm against immigration, but because of the drugs and the human trafficking that is going on there. So a couple of my ideas. I do look to have fiscal responsibility. I do look to bring discipline back in. I look to bring Republican values back in and back to abiding by the Constitution. Flash forward to where we have a president here unilaterally decided he's going to spend $1 trillion approximately of taxpayer money to pay out someone else's loan. We do have a Constitution and separation of powers, and that's Congress's job to actually decide how to spend money, not the president. So we have quite a few issues. Vermonters see that, and I'm excited by this race. And I'm proud to be a Vermonter, and may the 14th star shine bright, and may God bless America.
Well, I think that your platform, as you shared, it's basic common sense. And as I've interviewed many candidates, I'm finding that the Democratic historical voters are left in a vacuum with no one to vote for because the Democrats have gone so extreme far to the left that they're abandoned. And they are resonating with the idea of common sense, functionality, and with inflation and energy costs the way they are, they're left to see it right in front of them, the impact of the current administration. So Veterans for America First, we are so proud to endorse you and to support your campaign. We need you to get on the Senate floor and tell people how it should be, and that we should have a functional government. So the people of Vermont, if they wanted to find out more information about you, or to volunteer for your organization, or to make donations, how could they go about doing that, and where would they find that information?
Right on my website, which is www.deploymalloy, DEPLOYMALLOY.com, all one word, deploymalloy.com. And you can find out a ton of information about me and the ability to volunteer or to donate. And the donating is coming along, which is very exciting, and I appreciate it greatly. Any donation, $5, $10, $100, $500, whatever it is huge. And it goes a long way here in Vermont. And Jerry, you're right. Day one, the administration trying to kill the oil and gas industry. That is the reason we have high oil and gas prices now. We had independence, and I look to have gain or regain independence for the United States across current energy, future energy, critical technology, and food. And that's also resonating with Vermonters.
Well, I hope to have you on after you win as a celebration of your Senate race. And I don't want to lose touch with you because we're still here supporting you, even when you're in office, for what you need to keep the good word out and to keep promoting America First agenda principles and to save America. So thank you for stepping up, running for office, and I look to have you back in the near future.
Thank you, Jerry. I'm gonna conduct myself with the values I learned at West Point: duty, honor, and country. And I'm the right candidate to actually deliver a better future. Vermonters are worried about the future. I don't like the future I see for my children here, but I'm going to deliver a better future for Vermont.
Well, God bless America.
God bless America. Thank you, Jerry.